So I've been running my business, a video agency, for almost 10 years. And last time I checked, that is pretty close to a decade. And in that time, I've learned so much about running a business. We've produced videos that have racked up millions of views, generated millions of pounds in revenue for our clients, and I've had my fair share of ups and downs and lessons learned along the way, as well as being stung quite a few times. In recent years, I've overcome those setbacks and built a business that I'm incredibly proud of. We're doing 6 figures in revenue currently, edging towards 6 figures in profit, and this time next year, we'll be doing 7 figures in revenue, 6 figures in profit, with multiple businesses under our group name. In this video, I'm gonna share my 10 years of business knowledge, everything that I've learned to do, everything that I've learned not to do, and all of the things to look out for along the way. Let's get into it. Lesson 1, remembering that a business is incredibly tough to set up. It takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of energy, and sometimes a lot of money as well. Sometimes you don't have to put money into the business, you just have to sacrifice the money that you could be earning elsewhere in order to follow and achieve your dreams. I genuinely can't put into words just how difficult running a business actually is, and more often than not, only those who have done it are the ones who can relate. Remember, 50% of businesses fail within their first 2 years, and 90% of businesses do not make it to 1 decade in business. That's less than 10% of businesses actually managing to celebrate 10 years in business. The odds are against you from day one, and that's why these next few lessons are very important. Lesson number 2, marketing and lead generation is the absolute lifeblood of your business. Without marketing, you have no leads. Without leads, you have no customers. Without customers, you have no business. And without a business, you're pretty much left with a hobby or just an idea. The most difficult and borderline impossible thing to do when you start a business is to prioritize your marketing. As soon as you get busy, you focus on the work at hand. You focus on serving that client, creating that product, and marketing and pretty much everything else becomes bottom priority. However, your business actually suffers from this normally 3 to 6 months down the line. All of your marketing efforts can take 3, 6, maybe 12 months to actually pay off. And so if you think about the reverse where you're not doing marketing, whenever you're the most busy and not marketing, 6 months from now, you're gonna have no work. Constant marketing helps bring in constant leads, constant new customers, constant new business, and most importantly, constant and predictable cash flow, which brings me on to my next point. Lesson number 3, cash flow is king. This is a popular phrase in business, and rightly so. Even today, we still as a business sometimes struggle with cash flow, but the more that you can protect yourself and put a moat around your business to weather the storm later on, the better. Most new cars on the road come with a reserve tank of fuel because the manufacturers know that people can be absolute morons, and despite their car telling them they have no fuel, still not fill the car up with fuel. Do not do the same for your business, and make sure you have some reserves where and whenever possible so that one late invoice or unpaid invoice does not put you out of business. One quick note here, you'll often hear very popular advice saying that you should have 6 months worth of run rate in your business, basically 6 months worth of overheads saved at any time, so that if you never made another penny for 6 months, your business would still be able to survive. Now, this is absolutely sound advice, great advice, and if you can do that, amazing. But remember that most businesses only operate on a 10% net profit. That means it's going to take you up to 6 years to be able to save 6 months worth of overheads. That can actually be very, very difficult. So if you haven't managed to do that, don't feel like you've failed or that you're behind or anything like that. It can just take a long time to be able to do that. If you can manage 1 to 2 months of run rate saved, you are so much further ahead than most businesses, believe me. The best advice is just keeping your overheads as low as possible. Keep your costs down and only invest in things that are going to serve your business long term. Don't throw money fixing short-term problems with short-term solutions. This is one of the biggest killers in business, but they don't see this hidden cost because they actually think that they need to spend the money. They're fixing short-term problems with short-term solutions. Think about the longer term. In other words, don't go fixing your windows when your doors aren't even on the hinges. Lesson number 4, don't sweat the small stuff. I mentioned there about long-term solutions. Always be thinking long-term. Think in years and decades. Don't think in days, weeks, and months. You'll make better decisions, you'll protect your business for the longer term, and your future self will thank you. You'll force yourself to focus on the important things and not waste time on the things that don't matter. Not only that, but you won't rush into decisions. You won't try and discount yourself or your business or your value for a quick cash grab, which might come back and probably will come back to bite you later on. Analyze most decisions and use the question of, will this affect me in 10 years from now? Lesson number 5, actually sweat the small stuff. Now, this is the opposite of my last point, which was don't sweat the small stuff, but tiny details really do matter. This is everything from your branding right through to your customer journey experience. All of these tiny details really do add up in the long run. Think about nailing your brand, your customer ethos, and your customer journey. Think of this, the last business that you went and visited, what was the experience like? Was it amazing? Was it pretty crap? Or was it just meh? The best business experiences often come with a whole host of tiny but incredible details. A perfect example is Doubletree Hilton. It's fairly famous now that when you check in, they will give you a warm cookie, which is in an oven underneath the check-in desk. Now, their finance department has been wanting to get rid of this for years. According to them, it doesn't make any financial sense. And yet, it's the single biggest reason that people remember and recommend their experience at the Hilton. Lesson number 6, understand what makes a valuable business. The biggest ethos in my business mentality is this: build a business to sell even if you have no intention of selling it. When I very first started, I was only focused on running the freelancer hamster wheel, i.e. get a client, do the project, send the invoice, probably not get paid, repeat, 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 repeat. What an utterly garbage business model. Now I know that I want a business that is an effective, well-oiled, commercially profitable enterprise that would work without me in it if needed. Now we're in the process of actually purchasing a business, and let me tell you, most business owners, even with a great business, do not actually know what makes it so great and so valuable. A truly great business is a great business no matter what the sector. And these are just a few of the things to look out for. A strong and solid business model, a well-defined audience and strong customer base, a well-structured team, all with clearly defined roles, a strong management team that will allow the business owner to focus on growing the business, a steady ship in times of recession or economic downturn, multiple income streams that protect future changes, a strong and controlled and predictable cash flow. Lesson 7, understanding business economics. Everything that I just mentioned in that last point comes from learning and developing an understanding of what makes a truly good business. When I very first started, I was pretty much running my business blind. In fact, the only way that I can describe it is trying to swim without being able to swim. Your head is constantly underneath the water, you're trying to get it above water to see where you actually need to go, and you're just hoping for the best. In fact, you're hoping that someone will probably come and save you. Sadly, no one is coming to rescue you, so you better learn to swim or how to run your business. I think you get the analogy. Lesson number 8, red flags. Red flags are absolutely everywhere in business. As a business owner, it's your job to spot them and avoid them. Ignoring red flags only makes for a good story to tell in a YouTube video like this. I mentioned earlier about thinking longer term. Because I didn't do that in the early days, I would often ignore all of the red flags and try and go for clients that I thought would make me the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time. The problem being is that they actually made me the least amount of money in the longest amount of time. Either the projects were a disaster or they just didn't pay. More often than not, it was both at the same time. Red flags are everywhere, and if your gut says there's something off or not right about a particular client, a business, an idea, it's up to you to follow that instinct. I've had so many nightmare projects and clients that if I was to share them all on this channel, we would need a video in itself. And maybe that's one for another time. Lesson 9, become the very best in your field. Leave absolutely no room for average. In fact, just by doing what you say you're actually going to do, you're probably above 50% of your competition already. I don't say this lightly, but most businesses are run by idiots. And I say that because we are all those idiots. There's always something that we don't know something about, and there is always something that someone will know more about than you. However, in my experience, it's very easy to be above average. Think of it like this. The average person only does 1 hour of exercise per week. To be simply average, you only need to go to the gym once per week for 1 hour. That is very, very easy. Although sometimes I do still struggle. Think of it like this. Most people are building just a business at best. What you want to build is a name and a reputation. You need to become the person that people need to go to. All of your competition need to be seen as second choice, second best, literally a backup option if you're not available. That's what we're trying to do here at Affinity Media, where premium production is our only option. No exceptions and no excuses. Lesson number 10 is that you never stop learning. Some of my most enjoyable years in business have actually been the most recent few, because that's where I felt I've learned the most, and I've really enjoyed learning as much as I can about business. Doom scrolling replaced with reading, music replaced with podcasts, and stresses and problems replaced with solutions. Ideas as well replaced with actual strategies. I feel like I've learned more in the past 2 years than I did my entire first 6 years in business, and for that matter, my entire 16 years of school education. If there's something that you don't know, just remember that you don't know it yet. Business is not as scary as it seems, and remember, if you don't know something, chances are most other business owners don't know it either. Lesson 11, begin with the end in mind. Anyone familiar with the book 7 Habits of Highly Effective People will know that that is point number 2. And a very good point it is. Think about what you want from your business and what your business needs to look like as a result. Then you want to work backwards from that to reverse engineer everything that you need to do. Do you want to earn 6 figures, or do you just want a comfortable life? Do you want to focus on your hobbies, your interests, your family, your holidays? What do you want your business, your team to look like? What do you want your actual job role itself to look like? Think about all these things, write them all down, and work out what you have to do to structure your business accordingly. Most people set up a business because they've had half an idea. The problem is that they then end up on the hamster wheel and give themselves a very regrettable and miserable life. But before you think about what hamster wheel you want to end up on, you probably want to think about what beach you want to retire on. Lesson number 12, you can build bigger than you ever imagined. When I very first started out, my dream or ceiling for the business is pretty much what we have now, and yet now this is just the starting blocks. The dream that I have for the business in 10 years' time is dramatically different. There's a common phrase that most people overestimate what they can achieve in 1 year, but wildly underestimate what they can achieve in 10. Most people don't understand the idea of the compounding effect or exponential growth. You see, it took me 6 years to get where I thought I would be at the end of my first year. I wildly overestimated year 1. Now, even just the next 12 months are going to outdo our previous 8 years combined. Business can be daunting, but very exciting. Chances are, in business, you're going to learn most of your life lessons, typically in a pretty brutal way. Mistakes are part of the process, and if this video can help you avoid them or even just deal with them better, then I would say it's been worthwhile. So with that, I would love you to hit the subscribe button so you can get more videos just like this, as well as documenting behind the scenes of my business over the next 50 years. We're sharing the exact strategies we're using to grow our brands, our business online, as well as showing what works and what doesn't. Please share your biggest lessons or any questions that you have in the comments below. I will do my very best to respond. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.